Hi, my name is Amy. Thank you very much for watching, and let's make some bad financial decisions together. This is for entertainment purposes only, so if you're entertained, please like and subscribe. I was asked yesterday, do I think that Yieldmax and Roundhill and the other various high div pairs will be around for a long time, like, 10 plus years? Will they be paying similar yields? And if they stop paying these yields, what is my plan? And how will I know when to make the change? He said to please keep up the great work, and I would like to thank you so much for this comment, Michael Young. I really appreciate that, and I kind of felt like those were a lot of questions, and I will try to answer them more in depth than I ever could if it was in writing. So, let's start with, do we think that these will be around for a long time? And in reply, I'm going to tell you QILD has been around since 2013. And you know that Yieldmax and Roundhill, they didn't invent covered calls. They didn't invent options. And so this is just a technique that the only innovative thing about this is offering it as an ETF. So I believe that these will have longevity as long as the fund managers don't mismanage them. And so that's why I think it's important for everyone to be vigilant, and take everybody's concerns seriously and just keep an eye out on it. So I don't know if they will be paying similar yields because we don't know what market conditions will be in the future. But what you can do is monitor. So I made this new dashboard on Robinhood Legend because it said that, well, this is what my option chain looks like. I have 6 of them up. I have them on different dates so I can look at the different dates at the same time. And I was very confused because I have here that I'm showing the implied volatility, but when you don't have a bunch of them there, then you can see that, there is an implied volatility. So I'm going to use Ulti as the example. So I was actually doing preparation work for the video I did yesterday, and I couldn't remember if Yieldmax actually had done a filing for Ethereum yet. So I actually just searched YouTube and I found Oracle, his video about the open letter to Yieldmax that said, like, if Ulti reverse splits, everyone's splitting from Yieldmax. And, well, I wouldn't get out of a fund just because a YouTuber told me to. I think if Ulti fails with us letting them, well, they can invest in any fund that they want to. And now they can use any option strategy that they want. So if they can't make it profitable and they can't sustain their NAV, then it points to incompetency and mismanagement. But I don't think it's going to be an issue for Ulti specifically because they seem to be like stabilizing the NAV. Like, I was looking, I think it was like $10.40 before the distribution, and now they're already at $10. The thing with Ulti is that because it's paying 100% distribution, I don't think the NAV is going to recover quickly. I mean, we might get lucky and it might recover faster when some of the things have higher implied volatility, so they get bigger premiums, but I wouldn't count on it. So I think, like, besides mismanagement on the funds part and the fund just going away, it comes down to, like, what is my investment theory, and what does it still align with my goals, and if I feel like, and just like, what is my risk appetite at the time. So for me, I have tiers that I want to hit, and at that point I'm going to just like subtly change my strategy until at $10,000 a month of income, I'll just do the 3-fund portfolio and make the high income portion, proportionate, like no more than 10% of my portfolio. So, I mean, I have a long way to go. Right now, everything's very out of whack, and I'm aware of it, but it is the risk, and my risk tolerance that I have right now is pretty high. So, what we can do to to understand when it's time to bail on these is monitor what the implied volatility is. Because, like, we can okay, let's just go to MSCR. They're at $239 per share, so I don't have 23,000, like almost $24,000. Actually, it depends on what my strike price is, but I don't have $24,000 I can just bet on a single stock, on a single like ticket item. So that's why I'm staying with Yieldmax. But Yieldmax has specifically said, like, we want to pay out what the IV is at the time that we get the premium from the contract. So in 2025, 2026, during the crypto winter, if the implied volatility for MicroStrategies is at 40% or 20%, I would expect the fund to pay 20 to 40%. But, and I am also going to expect that the fund price will be going down. However, that's a good time to buy it because Bitcoin's cyclical, has a 4-year cycle, and eventually, we'll get back into these 100% implied volatility. So it'll just be completely dependent on the market. If Goldman Sachs is correct and we only have a 3% growth, I think that implies that there is a very low implied volatility. So there's always going to be like a stock that you can get into that has a high IV, but I think I've showed before where like the highest gaining stocks of the year, like 2 or 3 years later, they're worth nothing. So I, instead of pushing myself towards like more risky things just to like arbitrarily get more income, I'm going to continue with these funds until I hit my tiers, and then when I hit like the ultimate tier and I can retire, then I'll start going into more making my whole portfolio not about income and just getting it balanced so that I'm more resilient to different market conditions. But if the SEC decided that, like, hey, Yieldmax and Roundhill and all your high income ETFs, like, we're no longer going to allow you to have this type of ETF, my plan is definitely to apply for the higher grade of option trader at Robinhood and start doing leap contracts, because it is literally the same strategy. as what Yieldmax is doing. And how it works is you buy a synthetic long position, and effectively hopefully you're only paying like half of what and let me get, okay, so basically MSTR, MicroStrategies, this is for, you go like way out in the future, say like 809 days from now, and you're saying, well, it's currently $239, but I kind of I think it's going to be in the middle of winter, so I kind of think that, they're going to lose money. So I'm going to, buy it and get 120 or pay $127. That is correct, right? Buy to open. Yes. Okay. So I'm not going to buy this because I don't have this amount of money. But in this example, you do this, and then when you are at that tier of an option trader, you can actually use this as collateral to sell covered calls. And so, and the point of this is like, you only, I don't think this is half, but like basically like half that you keep as collateral. So it's out of play, but like if you had bought MicroStrategies right now, you would have had to use twice the amount of capital anyways. So then you just go back to like present day, and you're like, I'm going to sell a call, and this expires in 5 days, and I get $15. And then, I do it next week too, and I get, $20 or whatever. $17, whatever it is, like, it's a way to like own the share symbolically without having to pay the entire amount. The problem is when the stock, when it's, your long position is about to expire, if it's below the price, it'll expire worthless, and that's not great. And then, if you get assigned, then you'd have to be careful that that you're still profitable between all of the premiums. It's complicated. It is an advanced strategy. I don't want to do it. I just want to give Roundhill their money. I just want to give Yieldmax the money. And they can choose. They can open up this synthetic position, and they can make their calls against it. And I don't particularly have to worry about it. I could just collect my distribution. Like, I don't have to be as like tuned in as I am, but I like to know, and I like keeping on top of it. So, and I feel like I'm still learning a lot about options. So I'm pretty happy with MSTX. Well, when I started looking at this, they were only $27, okay? They were at $27, and I was like, I might not be able to afford $28,000 on a single contract, but I can use $2,000. That's okay. But wow. Anyways, they have a 200% IV, so their premiums are pretty high. So I feel like I can go further out of the money when I do my puts and still make a really decent amount of profit. I'm kind of using, and I know it's not fair, but like the Misty average amount that I can get for distribution per month, and using that to base what my strike price should be for MSTX, which is a 1.75% leverage of MicroStrategies, if you don't know. So like I'm pretty happy doing like small things on this, and like Bitto is at $19. So like cheaper stocks that I wouldn't mind owning, I don't mind doing regular like selling puts and selling calls. But for me, like having to open up that synthetic and then having to be very careful not to get actually assigned with my put, like my calls that I'm doing, this is why I'm paying somebody else to do it. Like I could, but I don't really want to make like a single $50,000 mistake. I don't want to make a $100,000 mistake. I don't even have $100,000 in my account. So that's just something put out there, that like I only have so much money. It really is the poor man's covered call. And so did I even answer your question, Michael? Basically, yes, I do think that there's a chance that unless there's some like gross mismanagement going on, that we will still have Yieldmax and Roundhill in 10 years from now. Will they be paying similar yield? Well, that just depends on what the market conditions are. I don't know. We'll just all have to make do with the what the conditions are at the time. If they stop paying the high yields, it definitely depends on the market and the conditions. If I think that I can make more money on my own doing options, I can do my own options. If my risk appetite becomes less as I have more money, which it probably will, I will just probably invest in the underlying and the leverage stocks and just slowly exit. It probably won't be a quick exit out, but barring any like weird market conditions, I will probably just stick with my the contract that I made with myself, and at the different tiers start investing slightly differently. That way at the end I'll have a beautifully diversified portfolio that is resilient to different market conditions. And I am going to leave you all there. I guess. Let me know, do you think that Yieldmax will be here a decade from now? Do you think that, what do you think about Ulti? I think I still have faith in Ulti. I know that a lot of people got burned by Ulti, but I like the change of the strategies. I made a whole video about why I like Ulti. So I'm a fan. And then what are your exit strategies for high income? Do you think that you would switch to doing your own covered calls with leaps and stuff, or if high income ETFs cease to be a thing, would you just go back to using like SEHD and going from there? Anyways, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.